So, one thing, our podcast studio is moving. The second thing is I don't have a second thing.
For the win! Boom, Donovan! The open shot. Gets the play. Are you? Goes for Bonga.
Hello and welcome back to the Eastman Sport Report, your father's son, coach, player, podcast about the Sacramento Kings and the San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Maxwell Eastman, joined once again by my co-host, Steven Eastman.
How you doing there, Max?
I'm doing good. As sort of the cold open addressed, our podcast studio is moving because the place that we do it at is shuffling stuff around. They're moving a bunch of stuff, so they're moving the podcast studio. So this is where it's going to temporarily be. It's going to look a little different, probably. I don't know if we're going to have fake grass in the next time.
But it should look cool.
I mean, it looks cool.
It should look better than what we've had in the past for a background.
A black box back there.
Yeah, I know.
But
so it's very different, and hope you're enjoying the view from this new podcast studio.
Yeah, definitely.
Little life update before we get into this too much into the podcast part of it. You have graduated from high school now.
I have graduated from high school. I'm officially a high school graduate. There's I think a second video that's going to come out about the same time as this that's going to talk more in detail about what that looks like for this podcast of like me graduating and what that's going to look like. But that's not for this episode.
Okay.
This episode, we're talking about NBA basketball, talking about the Sacramento Kings, and it is draft day in 2 days, 3 days.
Let's see. So we were recording this on Saturday. I think it's 3 days. Then it'll
3
be
days.
It's Tuesday.
You're probably going to watch this on Sunday or Monday.
Yes.
But
or Tuesday before the draft. But anyway, Tuesday night is round one. Round two is on Wednesday night. We do plan to have our next podcast out. We'll probably be watching the next draft, second round of the draft on Wednesday night when we record our next podcast. That is the plan. So we will get to live reaction to the. I can almost guarantee you there's lots of trades in the second round.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see what kind of action is going to be going on in the first round, and we'll talk about that in the second round as we're watching the second round. The Kings have draft pick number 7. I wish it was higher.
You saw the video about that, probably. Hopefully.
Yeah, you saw that. We're all a lot of reaction on that. That was a
link in the description or in the channel.
It's
or
just our previous video.
somewhere in them.
Anyway, and then they have pick number 32. Oh, sorry, 34. 34. Second. I was thinking second round.
Yes.
The second round pick. Number 34 overall. It's the fourth pick of the second round. That's what I was trying to say was second round. Anyway, and pick number 45. Out of 60, in case you're tracking at home. Overall feel of the draft. One of the things that's interesting about this draft is, before we get too much into the first round, is this is a very deep draft, but it's deep only really in the first round. So it might lead into get a really good pick at 34, but it does seem to drop off dramatically after that. Some of this has to do with NIL. Have you heard about that?
I have heard about that.
Yeah,
of a bunch of really, really good college players are deciding to stay longer in college because they're already getting so much money from NIL and from the college paying them, from Nike or Adidas paying them for shoe deals, for other things.
Like if you're a player, you're a college player, and you're like, I can make $2 million, or I can go to get a second round draft pick, and I might get a two-way draft, two-way contract, which is it's less than $1 million, maybe somewhere between $500,000 type of thing.
Yeah.
So you're like, I could take $2 million guaranteed from college and maybe increase my draft stock over the next year or two. So like a somewhat local kid grew up here, Andrei Stojakovic. Paige Stojakovic's son. He put his name. He was after his third year. So he was at Illinois. He was going to be hopefully a high mid second round draft pick. I was hoping the Kings actually would get him in the second round. He went back to school. So just one example of, hey, I can go make more money in college. So it's kind of the second round. Somewhere in the 30s, it drops off. Really, it's going to drop off. So will the Kings actually make pick number 45, or will no one want it? There's going to be definitely players available. There's definitely draftable players.
Yeah.
But the quality may not have been there as it could have been. And I don't blame the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, so if you jump to the beginning of the draft, overall feel of the draft, if you haven't been paying attention here, most people agree that there are a top 4 to the draft, which is why we wanted the Kings to get one of the top 4 picks. Oh, well.
So we're not going to get into that. We talked about that in the other one.
Okay,
we
so-
are upset, though.
Yeah, we're still, like the 2002 Western Conference Finals. It's a sore subject. Probably more for me. Anyway, okay. So most likely in this order, not guaranteed to be in this order, but
Probably somewhere like this.
most likely the order of the top 4 is AJ DeBonsa to the Washington Wizards, Darren Peterson to the Utah Jazz, Cam Bruiser to the Memphis Grizzlies, and Caleb Wilson to the Chicago Bulls. That's the top 4 and the order, just to kind of get that out of the way. But Darren Peterson versus AJ DeBonsa is not. It's still up to debate of who's going to be the number 1 pick. Darren Peterson is complicating things. Let's just say.
Yeah.
But he only wants to He only wants to work out, or he only has worked out, only plans to work out for the Washington Wizards. Now, does that mean he doesn't want to go to Utah, or is he like, no, I'm going to be the number 1 pick. I don't need to work out for Utah. And so, like, and then you also get to Utah, and Utah really wants AJ DeBonsa. Well, does AJ DeBonsa is working out for Utah because he's like, hey, I really want to go to Utah. He went to BYU in Utah. He has a lot of connections in the Utah area. He would actually want to stay at Utah, which is completely different than Ace Bailey last year, who the Utah Jazz picked fifth overall, did not want to go to Utah. Okay. So there's a whole bunch of, positioning at the top of the draft of that. Then the other Utah Jazz connection is Cam Boozer. His dad is a coach on the Utah Jazz. So is the team not going to pick his own son, or do they pick Cam Boozer, or do the Washington Wizards just pick Cam Boozer number 1 and totally mess up everything? That's where it's like, I really think there's a top 3. Caleb Wilson is really close in there. Everybody's saying he's really, really close, but I would think Cam Boozer could go 1, 2, or 3, but most likely he's 3. And then, of course, Caleb Wilson, I said, to the Chicago Bulls. Other things, if you look at the Utah Jazz, if you're this high in the draft, you should not be looking at fit. But if you were looking at fit, the Utah Jazz have Walker Kessler, who technically is, I think, a restricted free agent. They just traded for Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
Okay, he's usually a 4 or a 5. Walker Kessler is a 5. And then they have Lauri Markkanen, who's usually better at a 4. So, like, Cam Boozer is supposed to be a 4. Like, he can play center too, but it's probably his best position is a 4. So do you put him right next to that? I don't know. Does Cameron Boozer fit? I heard somebody talk about Cameron Boozer could fit really good next to Jaren Jackson Jr. because Jaren Jackson Jr. is better at blocking, not good at rebounding. Hey, Cameron Boozer is really good at rebounding, not as good at blocking shots. So maybe they work really good together. What does that do for Walker Kessler? Anyway, the Utah Jazz are in an interesting situation. Washington Wizards, they're just going to pick whoever they pick.
Yeah.
And Memphis is just going to take the rest of it, and Chicago Bulls are probably stuck at Caleb Wilson. So anything else you want to say about the top 4?
I think that the real contentious spot is, like, I'm pretty sure it's, like, set that DeBonsa's going 1. I don't have any questions about that.
Yeah.
My question is that who are the Jazz going to pick? Because I think it's either between Boozer and Peterson. I think that at 3, the Grizzlies are going to pick whoever the Jazz don't pick, and then Caleb Wilson is probably going to be left after that.
He's going to Chicago.
So is it going to be that Cameron Boozer is really going to go to the Jazz? Is De'Aaron Peterson going to go to the Jazz? And whoever's left of that is probably going to go to the Grizzlies, and then the Bulls are just left with Caleb Wilson, most likely.
You go down that path, and like AJ DeBonsa goes number 1, and then Darren Peterson did not go work out for Utah. I don't know if I haven't heard if he really doesn't want to go to Utah, but maybe they just pick Cam Boozer anyway. And then Darren Peterson falls all the way to Memphis. And then you look at Memphis, and you're like, they'd probably want Cameron Boozer slightly better from a fit perspective next to Zach Edey. And those two would be, really good together. Anyway, I do think there's a little bit of drama.
The other big thing I want to talk about that I think could happen is you were saying all the stuff about how the Utah Jazz really want AJ DeBonsa because he went to BYU.
Yes.
He's from Utah. He has all these connections in Utah. I think that the most likely thing to happen on draft night between the top 4 for drama-wise is the Jazz trading for the number 1 pick. They give up their own second pick, sort of like how, if you look back a few years, Luka Doncic and Trae Young got traded for each other.
3rd and 5th picks got swapped.
Swapped. I think that could happen for the...
And Utah has other draft picks from other players. When they trade away Rudy Gobert and they traded away Donovan Mitchell away to Cleveland, they got a lot of future draft picks. So they could package some of that together, go to Washington, and say, we really want AJ DeBonsa.
Yeah, so that's my big question of that. I don't think it's just going to be a straight-up pick swap. I think the Wizards want AJ DeBonsa a lot, but I think if the Jazz go up to you and say, hey, we'll give you 3 first-round picks, and they're the Utah Jazz, so you have no idea how good they're going to be. You're probably going to listen to that phone call.
Well, how many future draft or how many first-round picks is it going to take to move one spot? Because I remember when this is back in late '90s, you had Chris Webber was the number 1 pick, but he got traded with Penny Hardaway. I think it was a pick 1 and 3 got swapped, and I think it was when Golden State traded for Chris Webber, they had to give up 3 first-round picks. So only moving 1 slot, is it 1 or 2 picks that you have to give up? I don't know. Maybe 3. Would Utah think that's too much? And I don't know. It'll be some fun on draft night.
I don't think it's going to be some fun.
Yeah,
and then it's sort of like how a lot of people have said that once it gets to the top 5. Or after the top 4, once it gets into the 5th and below, this is when the real draft starts. People there isn't like a set what's going to happen. A lot of people do think that Keaton Wagler is going to go to the Clippers. He's guard out of Illinois, but the
next group. So everybody says there's a top 4, and then there's some people have said the next group is either 3, 4, or 5. Mostly is 4. The 4 players are, and this is kind of we'll just say the players: Keaton Wagler, Darius Acuff Jr., Mikael Brown Jr., and Kingston Flemings. Some people bring in Braden Burries, but I don't think he's going to do it. So when you get to the Clippers pick is kind of like another turning point in the draft of what are the Clippers going to do? And then the Clippers got this draft pick because they traded with the Indiana Pacers, and they get lucky. Now, the Clippers, if you think from a Clippers perspective, I don't know what they're doing. Like, what are they doing with Kawhi Leonard? Are you keeping him? Is the NBA going to take him away?
Are you keeping James Harden?
Well, he got traded away.
He got traded away to the Cavs.
So you got Darius Garland. Is he back in that trade?
What are you doing with Darius Garland?
Are you worried about picking? So that's what it's like when you said Keaton Wagler is a popular pick to go into the Clippers. I think Keaton Wagler and Darius Garland would fit really good together.
Yeah.
Okay. But are you worried about that, or are you just go pick the best player? Is Keaton Wagler the best player? And interesting looking at, so we'll get to, so if I kind of jump over, since we're talking Keaton Wagler, he's listed as a guard. I think he's a combo guard, and he is he's 6'5". He doesn't have, so he's not a traditional point guard. He can play point guard. I don't think he's going to be. I think he'd look really good with Darius Garland, where they can both handle the ball and work off each other.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I think will Keaton Wagler be the next pick. The next one is Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn, I think, is in a similar position to the Kings, where they need a star. Who do they think their star is going to be? If Keaton Wagler goes to the Clippers, who's their star going to be? Now, some people, like if you look at the NBA consensus mock draft, it's Darius Acuff. Is that what ESPN has?
That's what, this is just a listing of the top picks in a row. It does say that, according to ESPN, it says that 1 is Darren Peterson, just for reference. 1 is Darren Peterson, 2 is AJ DeBonsa, 3 is Cameron Boozer, 4 is Caleb Wilson. Then it goes 5 Keaton Wagler, which is also predicted to be at the 5 spot where he's drafted to the Clippers. And then 6, it says Darius Acuff, point guard out of Arkansas, is where he's also predicted to be picked by the Nets.
Yeah, so Darius Acuff is going a lot there. Now, recently, and we'll get to Darius Acuff and the Kings, but recently from a Nets perspective, there's been a lot of going around of the Nets are looking at a lot of different players. Nate Ament is kind of more of a wing player. I think in most consensus mock drafts, he's down at around, was it 10, 8, 9, 10?
It says 9 for this.
9, okay, 9. He's in that range. But he was like going into this year, he was actually like 5th, I think, going into the season type of thing. So other players have either, he didn't have an awesome freshman year, but he's more your traditional wing. Does Brooklyn Net like that? Another name that's kind of more, I wouldn't know if he's in the NBA draft circles, he's a light raiser. Well, that's because back at the end of the season, he was predicted to be about the 8th pick, and now he's up to the 6th pick. Is that really a riser, or there's a group of 4, and that 4 is being shuffled around? So both of the Clippers and the Nets are being linked to liking Mikal Brown Jr. He is 6'4", 6'5". He has really deep range. I think the Nets could like him.
Yes.
Now, also, if you look at like a Locked On NBA had their kind of podcasting draft, they had Mikal Brown and Keaton Wagler going 5'6", which left Darius Acuff to the Kings.
Okay.
And the important thing with Darius Acuff is even back in the season, I think this came out in February, that back then it was like, hey, the Kings really like A.J. DeBonsa. Well, yeah, no, everybody likes A.J. DeBonsa.
Yeah.
Then the next one came out as, hey, the Kings really like Darius Acuff Jr. Okay, so that is stuck, and the noise around Darius Acuff Jr. going to the Kings is grown and grown and grown to the point that most national people say this is Darius Acuff's floor, as in if Darius Acuff is available for the Kings will draft him. That's what we're hearing. Okay? But will he be drafted earlier? It's a great question. We don't know if 5 or 6. Now, that also to a lot of people are trying to predict the Clippers say, well, we're going to draft Darius Acuff Jr. Kings, if you want him, you have to trade up and get him, because maybe the Nets are going to draft him. Maybe the Nets are going to draft Mikal Brown Jr. Great question. Will the Kings trade up? I've also heard some internet rumors that they want to trade down. And I'm like, no, they're not going to trade down. In my opinion, they're not trading down. But anyway.
I think some interesting stuff that I've heard about around the NBA news circle is there have been several players in the position that the Kings would draft that have not gone to their scheduled or invited practices with the Kings. I think some of those players are Mikal Brown Jr. and Keaton Wagler, and then also Braden Burrs. He's probably not going to get picked by the Kings, but Keaton Wagler and Mikal Brown Jr. both didn't practice with the Kings when they were invited to come practice. So is that going to sway the Kings in some way if they're both available? Or are they going to go for like a Kingston Flemings instead, who did practice with us?
I mean, most people are saying that the Kings wish list. Now, of course, this is based off of what we're hearing in the media. This is not Scott Perry come out and say this. This is media people saying it. But from my perspective, I actually like these two players better than Mikal Brown Jr. and Keaton Wagler. Maybe I'm wrong, but from my perspective, I like Darius Acuff for Kingston Fleming. I think we said right when the draft lottery happened, I said Kingston Fleming. If I was to make a pick today, it'd probably be Kingston Fleming. We'll get into what each player does really good. But I do think, from a Kings perspective, they either want Darius Acuff Jr. or Kingston Fleming. If you look at it from a fun perspective, Kingston Fleming for the Kings.
Marketing material.
Yes. Okay, Darius Acuff Jr., his connection to the Kings. His dad, Darius Acuff Sr., was coached by Scott Perry many years ago. Okay, that's a connection. The Kings also have a long-standing relation with Coach Cal, who was Darius Acuff Jr.'s coach at Arkansas. Also, normally the lead guards that Coach Cal does usually play way better in the NBA than they did in college. And I think Darius Acuff Jr. is going to be one of those players. So Darius Acuff is an amazing player offensively.
Yes.
Offensively, he might be one of the best players in this draft.
Yeah.
Offensively, he can shoot. He can shoot in the mid-range. He can shoot the deep three, deep three. I don't want to totally compare him to Steph Curry
Not
and
Steph
Damian
Curry.
Lillard.
No.
But the deep shooting range.
A better comparison that I heard was Jalen Brunson, and I agree with more with that one.
Yeah. Like that type of, but he doesn't have to be right on the 3-point line to make a shot. He is very comfortable shooting 5 feet out from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Which is kind of important nowadays in the NBA. It's like the NBA range keeps getting moved back. So he is very comfortable shooting out there. He is amazing in the mid-range, which is, you could say, most people say it's not the most efficient shot, but if you can't get all the way to the lane, you shoot it to 3, a mid-range kind of needs to be there. He's also really good. He shoots about 59-60% around the rim. Now, for comparison, if you compare this to De'Aaron Fox when he was coming out, he was shooting around 67% in his freshman season. So 59% around the bucket is not amazing, but it's not bad. It's kind of like, okay, it's good. Wish it was a little better, but it's not bad. Which is kind of a little bit different than, say, Kingston Fleming. Kingston Fleming is not as good around the bucket as Darius Acuff. Kingston Fleming is more of your traditional point guard. He sets things up. Now, it's also interesting looking at Kingston Fleming and Darius Acuff because that's kind of the two we'll talk about the most here because they have the most Kings connection, and I think the most likely to be there. Darius Acuff is a flashy offensive player. Total flash.
A lot of star potential.
Yes, defense is not there. Okay? Yeah. But also, when he was in college, the offense was so centered around him, which in some ways is exactly what the Kings need. Okay? Yeah. When you go to Kingston Fleming was on a Houston team that was in the Final Four the year before. He beat out the other guy that was the point guard, and he became the point guard to a very upperclassman team. The other 4 starters are upperclassmen. So he was more of a traditional set people up type of guy. Now, he's also very speedy. Most people compare him to De'Aaron Fox, which if we draft him and everybody's player comp is, he's De'Aaron Fox.
It's going to be a long summer.
In some ways, I feel bad for the dude.
Yeah.
Like, in some ways, not that I don't like Kingston Fleming, but I don't want him to go to the team that drafted De'Aaron Fox. And what's your comp? Oh, De'Aaron Fox. Like, kind of want you to go off and be your own player somewhere else.
Imagine if Kobe Bryant got drafted to the Bulls.
Exactly.
Kobe was compared to Michael Jordan. He was compared to him basically the entire way up.
Yeah.
He was drafted straight out of high school because he was so good. Imagine if the Bulls had a Kobe Bryant. Now, any Bulls fans out there watching is like, great, sounds good. But like any tiny thing that he does wrong would be compared to him. So it's like.
Yeah. So, I mean, but Kingston Fleming is way better in defense. So if you get to him, like, he's not as flashy on offense, but is he not as flashy and didn't score as much? He only averaged 16 points a game. Because he had such a senior team around him. So it's hard to say, like a lot of people say that if you talk about these floor and ceilings, which if you're not familiar with them, it's like the floor is, okay, we know you're going to be this good, but how much can you become a star? Okay, a lot of people think Kingston Fleming can be either a all-star or close to all-star player.
Yeah.
But Darius Acuff his floor might be lower, as in he, worst case, could be a 6th man of the year or Malik Monk type. And you're looking for an all-NBA player.
Yeah.
But that is his range, where Kingston Fleming's is probably not as big of a range of what he could be, but he's going to be very solid. So you don't want to say this, but the safe pick is Kingston Fleming's. The swing for the fences is Darius Acuff.
And if you look at this Kings roster right now, we don't really have a star. If you could say we have a star, it would be like a star for the future instead of like Sabonis or Levine right now.
Yeah.
But it's like a star for the future is probably Maxine Renaud. But I feel like we said this a bunch with Fox when he was on the Kings. Like, he's a really good player, but he's never going to be the best player on a championship team. You have to have, like, Mike Bibby is a great player, but because it was him and Chris Webber, they were almost a championship team. The reason why the Spurs were so good is because they had not only did they have De'Aaron Fox, but they also had Wemby. They had all of these Batmans to their Robins. It's like the Kings need a superstar to lead them to their promised land, essentially. I don't think that OG Anunoby of the Knicks would be as good as he is if he doesn't have Jalen Brunson next to him, if he doesn't have a really good coach of Mike Brown bringing out the best in him. I think the Kings really need both a really good coach, which I'm hoping that we're gonna get. I'm sort of fine with sticking with Doug Christie for now because we're still figuring ourselves out. But I do think that the Kings need a superstar. They need to find their own talent.
Yeah.
Whether that's for trading for a younger guy, like how the Thunder traded for Shea when he was still sort of underdeveloped on the Clippers. We need to find someone that can lead us to.
Because if you look at where the Kings are at, like we'll get to where the Kings or the rest of their players are, and we'll get to De'Aaron Fox in the finals in a little bit. I love De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox was an awesome player on the Kings,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody said he was the head of the snake. But I always had this feeling in the back of my mind that I don't know if he can be the leader of a championship team.
Mm-hmm.
And will Kingston Flemings have the same problems?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's going to be a really, really good player, but is he your, like you said, Robin to a Batman?
Mm-hmm.
And is Darius Acuff more likely to be a Batman-type player?
Mm-hmm.
But then he also set people up. Like I went to watch some scouting reports and some other things. Kingston Flemings with Maxine Renault and Dylan Cardwell would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He averaged, so he was the first player in the SEC to lead the SEC in both points. He averaged, let me flip over, 23.5 points per game and 6.4 assists per the game, just before I say my stat. For comparison, Kingston Flemings averaged 16 versus 23 and 5.2 assists. So assist-wise, close. But Darius Acuff led SEC in both points and assists. The last time one player led the whole conference in both was Pistol Pete Maravich. And my son can tell you, I love Pistol Pete Maravich.
Mm-hmm.
I watched
Yes.
his video. When I
Mm-hmm.
was learning to be a coach, I would watch Pistol Pete homework basketball. Like, there's so many good things about Pistol Pete.
Yeah.
That he was way before his time.
Mm-hmm.
In the late 70s, early 80s when he came into the NBA wasn't ready for him.
Mm-hmm.
If he would to come into the NBA like, 2000s to now,
Mm-hmm.
he would be such a star.
Mm-hmm.
Pistol Pete was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he averaged, if you don't know him, but he averaged 44.1 points per game, or 44, I think it was 0.1,
Mm-hmm.
44 points per game
In college?
in college.
Mm-hmm.
44. Like that's amazing. And that was back before they did not have a 3-point line. And he would still shoot from way out there. Like with a 3-point line, would he have averaged 50? Like he was amazing. Anyway, so to be anywhere in the comparisons of Pistol Pete,
Mm-hmm.
and Pistol Pete could do some amazing assists. So yeah, you watch some of the assists and the way Darius Acuff was used to being that center of the ball, where the ball, like in our team, the point guard, our best player that we were on this past year. The ball just always seemed to find him and always seemed to come back to him. That's Darius Acuff. He's the center of the team. He assists so many people. He set people up. You watch the film breakdown and you watch him, what he's doing. He's dishing out for threes. He's getting back for a three. He's doing lob threats. And he does. I'll watch some video clips where he just comes around of a pick and then just throws it to a lob. Somebody coming from the corner coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was very fast on his assists. So it's not only is he an amazing shot maker, his assists are really good. He's going to make everybody else in the Kings better.
Yeah.
But his defense supposedly stinks. Not supposedly. That's being nice.
Yeah. So, but we have a player sort of like Dylan Cardwell, whose basically entire existence is defense, at least right now.
Yeah.
But and Keegan Murray, who's one of the best defenders in the NBA. And I think Nick Clifford is a positive on defense. I think Maxine Renault is a positive on defense. He's sort of like, for him.
I mean, we traded for DeAndre Hunter, who's kind of a 3-and-D player. We never really got to see because his eye got scratched after a game and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, with Kingston Flemings with that lineup, that's Darius Acuff. Darius Acuff with that lineup, I think would look really, really good.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I've heard about Kingston Flemings, I don't want to put down Kingston Flemings too much. He actually looks really good too, because and when you hear people talk about Kingston Flemings, he's the guy that makes everybody better. He may not always, like, he took this Houston team and he made everybody else that had a whole bunch of other older players around him, he made them better. And he made that team really good. He's a super quick, lightning fast step, which is why they have the change of pace.
De'Aaron Fox
Comparison. But his assists, he knows how to set people up.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's lots of good to him. And he's one of the best defensive players out there, guard-wise, in this draft. So the interesting thing from a wingspan perspective that came out of the draft, when people watch differently from Kingston Flemings to Darius Acuff, you're like, oh, Kingston Flemings looks huge as a guard. Not huge as a center, but huge defensively, he looks big. And did you know the interesting stat from that came out of the Combine?
No, I did not.
They have the exact same wingspan between Darius Acuff and Kingston Flemings.
Interesting.
But Kingston Flemings is a narrow player. Like he has, I'm kind of a narrow guy. He's very narrow. And so his arm length for Kingston Flemings is much longer than Darius Acuff, but Darius Acuff has broader shoulders and a bigger body. Not that he's, big. His body is bigger, so that when you put your arms out, his wingspan is the same as Kingston Flemings, but Kingston Flemings has longer arms.
Okay.
So from a defensive perspective, the longer arms make more sense, but that's kind of the interesting thing. Their standing reach, let's see, Kingston Flemings is 8'2.5". Darius Acuff is 8'2.5". So their standing reach is exactly the same. Wingspan for Darius Acuff is 6'6.5". Oh yeah, Kingston Fleming. Sorry, the standing reach is the same between the two.
Okay.
The wingspan is less, 6'3" for Kingston Flemings. The wingspan is 6'6" for Darius Acuff. That's where it's like Darius Acuff has a bigger wingspan than Kingston Flemings, but Flemings has longer arms. That's where the standing reach is the same. Anyway, okay. And they're both 6'2" for comparisons. So we focus a whole bunch on the Kings. That's what this is, a Kings fan-centered podcast. Yeah. Now, the Kings to get there, I kind of like the rumors of Mikal Brown and Kingston Wagler going 5 and 6 so the Kings can get Acuff. Yeah. I think Kingston Flemings would be a really good player
but
for
if
the Kings.
Acuff is there and we have the chance to pick him, why would we not?
Yeah, because the Kings need a star.
We're not in win now mode like how we were when we suddenly got the 4th pick and we were able to draft Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
And after that, and it's like, okay, we'll go get Nick Clifford and Maxine Renault, and we'll draft we'll draft Devin Carter. Sure, we just went to the playoffs. We're not in a win now mode where we can make safe picks. We need to do. The Kings need to do something. You got to swing for the fence.
You got to go swing to the fence. Exactly what I was going to say there. So, I am kind of curious of what's going to happen in the rest of this draft, because after this next group of 4, it's going to be an interesting thing. And they say that it's really deep draft into the mid-20s. So a lot of interesting things are moving around there. And I think if you look at the draft order, like out of the lottery, there's so many teams that do not own their own first pick. So they've traded up to get these picks in the second half. So it's going to be a very, very interesting first round of the draft. Anything else you want to talk about from a draft perspective from the Kings? I think we've kind of broke down Kingston Flemings versus Darius Acuff is definitely there too. Mikal Brown is just for briefly perspective, is a little taller than Darius Acuff, but he shows some of the same flashes, but he had a back injury at the end of the season that came about. But people are like, well, his back is fine now. There's a video that I saw that he was carrying his mom on his back to prove that his back was fine on social media.
Okay, do whatever you want.
Yeah, so, but he can shoot deep like Darius Acuff, and he plays defense. Or the hard thing with Darius Acuff is not playing defense is I think he had some quotes where he says, yeah, I should have played more defense. But I'm also wondering, like when Maxine Renault came out last year, he was the focal point of their offense. He was specifically told, don't play hard on defense, or don't get fouls. He didn't say don't play hard. He was told don't foul on defense at Stanford because they needed him so much offensively. I'm wondering if something like this is what Darius Acuff is like, hey, you're our offensive engine. Yeah, don't foul. Don't push it too much on defense. We'll make up for you. So that's totally speculation on my part. Don't know if that happened, but it could. So Tuesday night will be fun, and we should get the Kings draft pick in the first hour out of the way.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. I probably need to check my work schedule. What time does the NBA draft start at 5?
During the draft, we're hopefully going to sort of like how we did for Kings draft lottery, hopefully going to try to record ourselves, maybe even live stream. I don't know if with this new setup we're going to be able to figure that out in time, but hopefully be able to record a reaction to who the Kings are picking. So
that might be from our own living room type of thing. We'll probably will not be back here on Tuesday night. But Wednesday night we will be here for the second round while the second round's happening to do a podcast and talk about everything that happened in the first round. Okay. Now, moving on to other NBA things. This will be an NBA-focused podcast for us. Other NBA things. Do you want to go over to the kind of the postseason NBA Finals perspective?
NBA playoff bracket.
So, kind of keeping it a little bit of King-centric here. We had both
the finals.
We had both Mike Brown versus De'Aaron Fox in the NBA Finals, and Mike Brown, of course, won. Congratulations to Mike Brown. It's almost like he was a good coach, 2 times Coach of the Year player, 1 time a unanimous for the Sacramento Kings.
I've already made my opinions about this clear. Vivek Ranadive. Your days are numbered. That's not a real threat.
That's not. So, yeah, why'd they fire Mike Brown? I don't want to rehash that too much, but we can just ask the question of, yeah, it looked like he was a pretty good coach. So congratulations to Mike Brown.
Congratulations.
OG Anunoby, who was, even Sam Amick brought up in a recent interview in Sacramento.
Almost traded to the Kings.
Almost traded to the Kings?
Actually, it was traded to the Kings, and then Vivek said no.
Yeah, well, something like that. Yeah, they didn't want to pay him. Maybe he was worth it, especially when he had the last-minute tip-in to win the game and the block of De'Aaron Fox before that. Anyway, I had an interesting take on De'Aaron Fox. Mm-hmm. Now, first off, he got injured in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Remember, he had a high ankle sprain. And high ankle sprains can last up to 4 to 6, 8 weeks. So he was trying to play on an injured ankle, which probably, let's just say definitely impacted his game. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he's definitely not 100%. But then I also remember the last time he was in the playoffs for the Kings, he hurt his finger and didn't play very good. And that's probably why we lost to the Warriors that game because he wasn't playing as good. I don't know if I want to say he's an injured player, but yeah, when you're injured, you don't play very good. But he's a tough player. He tries to tough it out. Okay, either way. The point that I want, and I heard this from somebody else, so it's not 100% mine, but I hear a lot of things, and this is one like, this one makes sense to me, and 100%, so I'm going to say this one. Okay, when the Kings had De'Aaron Fox,
Okay.
how many point guards did the Kings go through and not do or got rid of because of De'Aaron Fox?
We had...
Number 1 was the second right after his rookie year, they did not draft Luka Doncic because of De'Aaron Fox. 2 years later, a couple years later, they drafted Tyrese Halliburton, and after a year and a half said,
We got rid of him because of De'Aaron Fox. And then we also got rid of Davion Mitchell. I don't know if he counts, but we got rid of him because we had De'Aaron Fox.
And he was a starter for the Miami Heat this year. So how many point guards did... I don't want to say Fox ran off, but the point is, for Fox to be Fox and Fox to be the all-star that he is, he doesn't play, I don't want to say play nice. Let me put it this way. You don't get maximum De'Aaron Fox when you play with other point guards that are ball dominant. Mm-hmm. Like when Halliburton and Fox were together, Fox defers too much. Everybody was like, yeah, well, Fox just passes they're trying to do a your turn, my turn thing. I'm sorry, that doesn't seem to work for De'Aaron Fox. Mm-hmm. And so when you're looking at that, well, what do the Spurs have? They have Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper. And so when Fox would bring the ball up a lot in the playoffs, when you watch it, he would try to orchestrate things, but a lot of the times he's passing it to one of those and he goes and stands in the corner. That's not maximizing De'Aaron Fox. Mm-hmm. So I think, yes, the Spurs are all saying the right thing, and they're all saying that we love him. He was the steady voice throughout the season that got us this far. I don't doubt that a lot. Fox is a great guy.
Yeah.
But if you want to maximize Fox for the player that he is, there's a kind of a history where when you have a really good other point guard, he's not necessarily great playing with him. And then when you have both Castle and Harper, I think the Spurs are going to have to get rid of one of those 3.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I know there's this one team in the NBA who really needs a point guard right now. They have a high draft pick that could possibly be traded for a point guard.
Okay, you said that. Would you trade the number 7 overall pick to get Fox back?
Not Fox. I'd try to get either Acuff or Castle.
That's true. Which is back to when the trade happened. Mm-hmm. I'm like, why didn't the Kings either get that year's Spurs pick, which turned into Dylan Harper, or you get Stephon Castle back? Mm-hmm. Like, that's if Monte McNair was doing his due diligence. Don't get Zach LaVine. You either get Stephon Castle or the Spurs number 2 overall pick that year.
And then I've also heard that the Spurs GM or their coach or whoever has already stated that they're not interested in trading De'Aaron Fox this offseason. Like, he's going to stay on the team. He's the veteran. We want him to stay. So are you willing in trading anybody else? Possibly the rookie? that.
No, you're not trading Dylan Harper. There's no way you're trading Dylan Harper.
Are you going to trade Stephon Castle? Are you going
I
to trade
think
Darius Acuff?
I think
That's wait, no.
Darius Acuff is hopefully a king. Hopefully. I don't think this. I think the Spurs are to kick the can down the road, and they're not going to do anything this season. They got to the finals with this matchup. In my opinion, even though the noise is growing around this, I don't think they're going to trade De'Aaron Fox until maybe next offseason and see how things go. But the hard thing is De'Aaron Fox's number goes up to like $60 million. Like he signed a contract extension, I think last offseason, which kicks in this offseason. So next year he's getting paid $60-something million. Now with all the, I think what Victor Wembanyama can also get an extension, but that won't kick in. So like the Spurs are fine money wise for a year or two, but in a year or two, when you have to start paying Castle and Dylan Harper, is at the point where you got to trade Fox. And I do think eventually there's something going to happen with the Spurs. So congratulations to the New York Knicks.
I do want to say that I'm very happy for the Knicks, like the entire team in general. This is a bunch of guys who I don't know if it's Mikal or Michael Bridges.
Yeah.
He was on the Bucks team when they were not the Bucks. He was on the Suns team when they were up 2-0 against the Milwaukee Bucks. They blew that lead, and now he was he was on the Knicks when they went and when they lost the game 2-1 against the Spurs. Everyone was saying that Mikal Bridges is he traumatized from this? He's like, I've seen this before, man. But like, Cat finally got a ring. He's been in the league for how long?
At least 10 or so.
Long. Jalen Brunson is this
second round draft pick.
Second round draft pick was at one point. Everyone was confused why the Knicks. I don't know if it's traded or paid
free
agent signing signed so much money for Jalen Brunson away from the Dallas Mavericks.
I mean, it was a second round pick, and he played with Luka. And I think Scott Perry is the one that signed him to the Knicks. Like, Scott Perry helped build this Knicks team. No, he left a few years ago. Yeah. But I totally agree with you. Congratulations to the Knicks. If the Knicks, yes, could keep their team together, but if they didn't win it this year, I don't know if they would win it over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Because I think the Thunder is going to get better, and the Spurs are going to get better. Maybe Houston's around. There's going to be other teams that get up there.
I think that I'm very happy for the Knicks. I did say in our very early prediction for the season that I wanted to pick a wild card. So I picked a wild card and said that Jalen Brunson would win MVP. I should have just put a finals in front of that, apparently.
Yes, definitely.
But congratulations to the city of New York. Congratulations to everyone on the Knicks team. I'm honestly, out of a lot of the teams on this in this NBA, I'm happy that the Knicks won because like I've seen so many people because like the Knicks are such like a big team that there's so many
and they haven't been good for a while.
Yeah, and it's been like 50-something years, 53 years since they won the not the playoffs. Well, I guess the playoffs since they won the finals, and it's like. To see the amount of people, whether on social media or just out partying the streets, just the joy that this has brought the franchise is just really good. So I think this is good for the NBA to see. And it's not like they have one big superstar, obviously Jalen Brunson, but like there were so many other people that contributed to this.
Yeah.
It's sort of what we're seeing now of like the Thunder had a lot of really good players and the Knicks have a lot of really good players. It's not like a big super team of Giannis on the Bucks, of a big three of Steph Curry, of Kevin Durant, of Klay Thompson all in the Warriors, of Kawhi Leonard dragging the Raptors to the finals. It's a bunch of players coming together.
It's a really good team. I mean, you have Jalen Brunson as the star who got 45 points in the game, the clinching win, clinching game. But it's a really good team, which in some ways reminds me of the old Detroit Pistons that Scott Perry, managed back. Was it 2004? I think they won the championship. Just a team. And if I was to look at like the Kings trying to model off them, I don't think they'll be able to follow the Oklahoma City model. I don't think they're going to be able to follow the Spurs model. I think they'll eventually get there because I don't think you're going to get a Giannis. Like I was thinking the Bucks too. They're not going to follow a Bucks model. They're not going to get to follow the Warriors model. You're not going to get that. But if you can get a Darius Acuff and you can put around a lot of really good players with him. That's kind of following the Knicks model than necessarily a Spurs with Wembanyama or a Shea with the Thunder. I think this is a really good model, and it's great to see from an NBA perspective to see the Knicks win. So, and then, they've now won a championship after 53 years. Now it's the Rochester Royals current franchise to break our
last
doubts.
time the Kings won the finals, they were in New York, and now the team from New York just won the finals. So
That's true. Yeah. Our new table.
2026, 2027 NBA champions, the Sacramento Kings.
With that would be like amazing.
I would put, if you bet $10, how much money would you win? A 10K? Or just 1,000?
100K? Right now, would it be 100? If you were to put $10 in the Kings right now, would you get 100K out of that bet?
I need to do the math on this really quick.
Okay. While he's doing the math on that, I think we're kind of done with our NBA Finals. We did want to go back, and for those of you watching our things, we made some predictions at the beginning of the season, and we wanted to go over our NBA season predictions because Max is going to try to make some money over here.
Whoa.
As he's making noise over here. So let's go over our NBA season predictions. Would you like to start with the award winners?
We're in last place?
Yeah. Was that 100,000 to 1 odds? Plus, was that 10,000 or 100,000?
That's $100,000.
Yeah.
Plus 100,000 odds.
So does that mean if you put $1 down, you make 100,000, or is that $10 down to make 100,000?
I don't know how betting works. He doesn't know how betting works.
I don't know.
Someone who knows how betting works are my brother-in-law.
Maybe he might not.
Please tell us.
If it's a plus 100,000. Okay, so moving on to our NBA season prediction recap here. Let's do the awards first, in my opinion. So I wrote down that our predictions for MVP, we both picked SGA.
Yes.
And guess who the winner was?
SGA.
Wow.
When was that? When did you record these notes? Because I have very early notes that we have.
We took the notes that I have are from when we did this before the season. So we picked these before the season. These are notes from our NBA season prediction show back in October.
I have very different notes. I don't know what notes you have.
Okay, well, this is what I got from back when we picked it back that far. NBA season predictions back in October. We both picked SGA. For Coach of the Year, we both picked Mike Brown.
I think the Pistons coach won Coach of the Year, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what his name is.
Coach of the Year, nope, it's the Boston Celtics. Joe Mazzulla won.
I am double checking this. I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
I don't believe that. I also did not pay attention to awards season this year, but that's just a me thing.
Okay, Rookie of the Year, we both picked Cooper Flagg.
He won. Big shocker.
Okay, so we've actually got 2 right.
I do think Con Knippel should have won this year. I do think that Cooper Flagg is going to be the better overall player, but I think that Con Knippel had the better rookie season, which I think is what Rookie of the Year should be based off of.
I disagree with that, but we don't need to get into it too much. I think Cooper Flagg had a better season. Okay, Defensive Player of the Year, we both picked Wemby.
Wow, big shocker there.
And what was the Defensive Player of the Year?
Victor Wembanyama.
Wow, we got 3 right. These are not really hard picks that we got right. Anyway, does that mean NBA is sometimes predictable? Yes.
A little.
Yes, it is. Sixth Man of the Year, I said Nas Reed. You said DeAndre Hunter.
I think he's on either the Cavs or the Pistons, if I remember correctly.
Is that the DeAndre Hunter that the Kings traded for? Is that who you picked? For Sixth Man of the Year?
God has a really sick sense of humor sometimes.
That is the guy who the Kings, in case I was not joking, that is the player that the Kings traded for in the middle of the season who's got his eye scratched.
God has a sick sense of humor, and I am his joke.
We were both wrong on that one, in case you weren't tracking. Keldon Johnson of the Spurs won the Sixth Man of the Year. Congratulations to Keldon Johnson. Clutch Player of the Year. Oh, I said Jalen Brunson. Max says Anthony Edwards. The winner is SGA.
I don't think they were ever in a clutch moment where he needed to be clutch, so I disagree with this pick by the committee.
Hey, Jalen Brunson was the clutch player of the finals.
OG Anunoby.
Well, yeah, but Jalen Brunson did pretty good too. Okay, most improved. I said Andrew Nembhard.
I said Victor Wembanyama because very good player.
Yes. Most improved went to Nickeil Alexander-Walker from the Atlanta Hawks.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, the Atlanta Hawks, they had a pretty good season, especially after they traded Trading. They actually did pretty good. Good for the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, so we got 3 right out of
6.
7. Yeah. Okay, not bad. Okay, I don't want to go through this in great detail here, but this was our picks. How do we want to go through this? I'm thinking here quickly here. So, Eastern Conference, we picked the order 1 through 8. Okay, Detroit was number 1. Let's look this way. I picked Detroit being the 6th. Max picked them being the 4th. They were number 1. Boston was number 2. Neither one of us had them making the playoffs.
I had them at number 7. On your list it says number 6, but on mine it says number 7.
Well, mine says 8 there, but anyway, okay.
Get it right.
Okay, so he's closer there. Knicks, I put the Knicks at number 2. They ended up being number 3. You put the Knicks at number 1.
And they won the finals, so
okay, we were
I'll take that. I'll take that as a win.
We were both high on the Knicks. Okay, Cavs were number 4. I had Cavs number 1. You had Cavs number 2. So we were in the right ballpark for there. Toronto Raptors ended up being 5th. I did not have the Raptors.
I did not have the Raptors either.
We did not have the Raptors making the playoffs. Atlanta Hawks were 6th. I had them at 4. You had them at 5. Okay, so we were both there. 76ers ended up being 7th.
We did not put the 76ers.
And the Orlando Magic. I put the Magic all up to 3. I was a little higher on the Magic.
I also put the Magic at 3.
Yes, we both had them at 3. So we were. They were not.
Although I think everyone at the start of the season was really high on the Magic, so that wasn't a controversial pick to make back then.
Yeah, I do have to say I was really, really wrong on. We did something since we're talking Eastern Conference here. I put the bottom 5 of the NBA. We're not going to go through the complete list, but I put the Celtics on the list, and I specifically said I think it's going to be the Indiana Pacers or the Boston Celtics will tank, or kind of because they lost Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton to Achilles injuries, so neither one of them is going to do anything. I said one of them is going to be really bad. I picked the wrong one. So anyway, sorry, Boston, I was wrong. Good job. You guys had a better team than I thought you did. Okay, moving to East or Western Conference. Oh, we did actually pick. I actually said the Knicks to win the East.
I said what did it say? I said the Cavs were going to win the East, which I don't know what the Cavs are doing personally. They sound like, if you look at their record and what they do in like the regular season, they sound like a really good team, and then it like goes to the second round and they crumble, or not even. I don't even think they made it out of. Did they even make it out of the first round?
No, they made it to the second round and they lost to the Knicks. Yeah,
it's just like, what do the Cavs do in the playoffs that make them like inconsistent? I don't understand. But I put them as in the finals, and I also put them.
They have James Harden.
They didn't have him last year. That doesn't answer my question.
Yeah, but he's not very good.
That doesn't answer my question.
Yeah, but he's not very good in the playoffs.
Okay.
You traded for a guy who's not very good in the playoffs. Okay. Hey, I got Knicks. I picked Knicks to make the finals. Good job on me. Okay, moving to the West.
Most controversial pick here. We both picked the Thunder to be the 1 seed in the West.
And you know what? They were.
Very controversial pick.
Wow, some of these ones that are so easy, we got them right. Good job. We took the easy one. Okay, the Spurs were number 2. I put the Spurs at 8. You had them at 6. We both knew they would be better and actually make the playoffs. They were way better than we thought. Good job on them. Nuggets ended up being 3rd. I put them at 2nd. You put them at 3rd. So good job. You got them exactly right. I was really close. Lakers are 4th. I put the Lakers at 7, and you had them at 7. So, yeah, Luka and LeBron played a little better. And I'd probably give some of that credit to Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves had a pretty good season. And he's probably going to make some bank this year because I think he's a free agent.
Yeah.
You got Houston Rockets ended up being 5th. I put the Rockets at 3. You put the Rockets at 2. That's because Kevin Durant was there. They got traded from the offseason. They were going to be good, but they kind of, Anyway, they weren't as good as I thought they were going to be, which that's why they weren't there. But they
Yeah.
were still pretty good. I do think they missed Fred VanVleet. They probably actually need a point guard.
Yeah. Positions sort of matter in a basketball game.
Hey, there's a point guard on the Spurs that might be available. Anyway, okay, moving on.
Possibly.
Yeah, he could, and he's from Houston.
I mean, it's not a terrible idea.
I don't know what they have to do to get what the Spurs would give him up. Would Spurs give up Fox? Anyway,
Moving on.
Random thoughts during the podcast that come into my mind. Okay. Number 6 ended up being the Timberwolves. You put them at 4, I put them at 5, and they ended up being 6. Okay, pretty close. Portland Trailblazers ended up being 7th. I did not pick the Trailblazers to make
I
the
also
playoffs.
did not pick the Trailblazers to make the playoffs.
Good for them.
I don't think anyone did.
Yeah, the Suns ended up being 8th. I did not put the Suns making the playoffs.
I also did not put the Suns.
Okay, is there anybody that the Clippers were number 6, and I said they were not going to make the playoff, or they were 6 and they did not make the playoffs? That's probably the worst pick I had there. You had the Clippers at 5. And that's a bit. If you go to the East,
I
was
thought
there
the
any?
Clippers didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, Clippers did not. That's the highest player that you picked that did not make the playoffs. If you go back to the East, was there a bad pick that we did?
Bucks.
The Bucks. Yeah, they kind of fell apart. Will Giannis be traded by the draft next week? I kind of think they want to, but
I am done with this song and dance. Every single year since the final, ever since they missed the finals, after they won the finals, we've had discussions about will Giannis be traded.
Don't pound the table.
I'm done with it. I'm done with this discussion. It's happened every single year, and you know what's happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. I'm done with this discussion.
That sounded like when you said nothing. That sounded like the player that the character you played in your last high school play. If you go back and listen to that, if you know who he was at his last high school play, that accent came from his drama production.
It's just stuck in me sometimes.
It just came out. I heard it.
Nothing happened. Nothing has been happening. And I don't know why we keep doing this song and dance over and over and over. Will Giannis be traded? He won't be traded. And it happens every single time. And I don't care anymore.
Is Giannis going to be a loser? Okay, sorry. That's an inside joke. For those of you who know Max's last play, I had to bring that in there. Okay. Bold predictions. If you go back to the West, I said the Thunder would win the West, and that the Thunder would win the finals.
I think I said Thunder would win the West, but I said it would be Thunder Rockets, and also the Thunder would win the finals.
Okay, so we picked the Thunder.
Yeah.
It was the Knicks were. Good job on Knicks.
He picked, and then what we did is we did top 5, bottom 5. I picked my thought of the top 5 teams in the NBA were,
yes,
and he picked his bottom 5 teams of the NBA.
Okay, you want to go first?
I'll go first. So
you were the top.
The top 5 was Thunder, Knicks, Cavs, Rockets, Nuggets. I think the thing that I would probably change about this list, or 2 things I would change about this list, I'd probably put the Pistons in somewhere,
and the Spurs,
and I would definitely put the Spurs in. I would probably take the Rockets and the Cavs out if I had to redo this list.
Yeah. That's I totally agree with you.
But otherwise, I agree with Thunder, Knicks. I think that if the Thunder made the playoffs, made the finals and beat the Spurs in Game 7, I think that it would have at least gone to 6. I don't know what the finals matchup would have looked like between Thunder Knicks. I think it would have been closer because the Thunder would have been more experienced and maybe a little less injured, even though they had Jalen Williams injured. But I do think that it would have been closer, but I don't know if the outcome would have changed. But yeah, that was my top 5. Who is your bottom 5 teams that you had?
Okay, so I had some teams that were right, similar to what you had, and some that were not, of course. So, sorry, I'm jumping around to get the answer where they ended up there. So the teams that I got right in my bottom 5 were the Washington Wizards. You had the bottom. They ended up in the number pick, and they had the worst record in the league, the Washington Wizards. Utah Jazz, they had the same record as the Kings. Did not put the Kings in the bottom 5. I didn't think they would be as bad as they were. I picked the Phoenix Suns, who actually made the playoffs. So good for them. They did better than I want. In some ways, I wonder what the Suns are going. They have Devin Booker. I feel, are they in no man's land? As in, I think they're too good to be bad and not good enough to play for a championship. That's my opinion of the Phoenix Suns right now.
Welcome to the Sacramento Kings experience.
Yeah, they just might be slightly better at this, but it may not matter a whole lot. I picked.
Welcome to the Chicago Bulls experience.
That's probably a better comparison right there.
Miami Heat.
Yes. Hornets, the Heat did make the finals a couple of years ago, but that's because they had an amazing run by Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Okay, Charlotte Hornets I put on the bottom, which made sense at the beginning of the season, but then they had Con Canuple come on and LaMelo Ball. And
I'd say after December, before December, everyone would have agreed. And then after December, what the heck happened to the Hornets, man?
I know, they went off, and they ended up making the play-in tournament. I think they won the first game in the play-in tournament, but they lost the second game, so they didn't make it actually into the playoffs. But they had a pretty good season, and things are looking up for the Charlotte Hornets after being a while. And the last one I already mentioned was the Boston Celtics. I put in the bottom. They are not. So the two I got right were the Jazz and the Wizards. And then if you conclude the play-in, the other three actually made the play-in playoffs. So, yeah, I only got 2 right out of the 5.
Okay.
You got 3 right.
I did get 3 right.
Good job. You got better at that than I did. Okay.
It's easier to predict best teams than it is worst teams.
Yeah, sometimes.
But, okay.
Next year, will the Kings be one of the bottom 5? Well, tune in next year. Tune in October.
It depends on how I feel after the draft is my thing.
We're not going to talk about a whole lot about the Kings next offseason. I think it really depends on, are they trading Sabonis? Are they trading Levine? What are they doing to DeMar DeRozan? Like, to me, the Kings next season depends on how many people they trade.
Okay.
And what's going to happen.
Predictions that we had for the Kings season. I wrote Kings bold predictions. I also just said that I thought their final record was going to be 38-44. I was a little more positive than him was. His was 35 wins.
Yeah, it's going to be 35 and I think 40.
And they had 22. So...
Well, they had a lot more injuries than we predicted. So.
And that sort of goes into one of my bold predictions. As I said, there would be no season-ending injuries the whole season. Well, you traded for a potential sixth man of the year, DeAndre Hunter, and he scratches his eye the first game he comes back, and then he goes, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to play.
Sabonis got injured, and he didn't travel with the team because he couldn't even walk toward the end of the season. So yeah, Keegan Murray was out. Zach LaVine was out.
DeMar DeRozan was out.
DeMar DeRozan played most of the season.
No,
Him and
yeah.
Russell Westbrook played most of the season. Anyway,
and then I said,
let's go through yours.
And then I said my second one was that Dennis Schroeder would be top 5 in assists in the league. First of all, he's not on the team anymore. Second of all, I didn't get that right. You don't even have to look up the stats. I already know. Don't look up. He's not even going to be listed on the Kings roster.
He had 5.3 assists when he was on the Kings.
Anyway, and then
he did lose his starting job.
He did lose his starting job.
Okay.
I'm gonna save the next the thing I put third for last because I think it's
that's your best one.
Number 4, I said Keon Ellis would hit 3 game-winning shots. I don't know if he hit any for either the Kings or the Cavs. Then again, I don't keep up with the Cavs, but I don't think he hit.
I feel like he did something. At least one game, he had a really good moment at the end of the game for the Cavs.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to the Cavs. They're not.
We'll just say he was wrong.
Yeah. And then number 5, I said Sabonis will be traded at the trade deadline. These were bold predictions. I got that wrong. I really thought that might have been right, and I think it could have been right, but it's just no.
Well, Toronto was trying to get him, but they were trying to lowball the Kings, so that didn't happen.
Okay, and my most important one, the one that I got correct, was that I said Maxime Renaud will be a consistent starter at some point. I said that at some point, either Sabonis is going to get injured, and then Max is going to get a lot of minutes, and then I'm pretty sure I said that once Sabonis gets healthy again, we're going to have him play more. I didn't expect him about halfway through the season to steal, essentially steal Sabonis' spot.
Well, Sabonis was injured.
Yes,
but he's making is he a starting center in this league going forward?
Yeah.
Maxime Renaud was great this season.
Yeah,
that was a great pick. That was one of those things that's like similar to Darius Acuff. He actually wanted to come to the Kings, so good for him. I'm loving some Max. Max
stock is going up as well.
Max stock is going up.
Max stock is going up.
Okay, so my predictions for the Kings. Good. Max, you got one right. That's about as good as I did. Okay.
Very similar topics for both of us.
Yes. I said 35 wins in the season, like he said earlier. Yeah, okay, I was only off by 12. I said the Kings would trade DeMar DeRozan and Malik Monk. He said Sabonis. Yeah, who'd they trade? Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis.
Why did you trade Keon Ellis? I will say this to the ends of the earth. Why did you trade Keon Ellis?
Because you weren't going to re-sign him this offseason.
For DeAndre Hunter? Anyway.
You don't actually know how good he is next to Keegan Murray because neither one of them played. He scratched his eye. But he's going to play in 6th man of the year, according to you. Okay. I also said Levine is going to be top 3 in threes made this year.
No.
Yeah, I'm not even going to look at where he ended up in the season. Yeah. Will Levine actually be on this team in 2 weeks?
Please, no.
Okay.
Pull the Trae Young and decline your player option. I will pay for your plane ride out.
What money do you have that's going to play a plane ticket? That's going to come out of my pocket.
He will pay for a plane ticket. He will pay for your plane ticket, Zach LaVine.
He's speaking up for my money.
He'll give you business class. He'll give you a private jet.
I'm not paying for that.
He'll give you a private jet. All expenses paid for. A hotel even. You can go to the Bahamas.
When this podcast... Okay, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, the one prediction I got right. Nick Clifford will start at least 10 games. That was not very bold. He has started in 28, if I remember correctly. Let's go back and make sure. I think it was 28. We looked at that before the podcast to make sure I was right. Yes, he started 28, played in 75 games. So, hey, I got one tremendously right. He got one tremendously right about rookies starting a whole bunch of games.
Yes. The picks that we made mattered were about I hope was us trying to hope in the young players, which apparently worked out. So I'm trying to put more faith in the young players.
Can I push the blue button?
Sure, you can push the blue button. That's kind of loud. Thank the Lord
for the NBA, for the Kings rookies last season.
Amen.
Okay, there's a thank the Lord moment. We wanted to play that last minute sound there for you to hit one of our things on the soundboard over here. So yes, the Kings had good rookies this last season. We'll see which good rookie Kings get this year at pick number 7 in a couple days.
I also want to shout out Dylan Cardwell, but looking back at this season of
Kings basketball.
Well, I think I've said this before, and it's that I remember that if you go on r/Sacramento Kings or r/Kings, which is the Reddit area, to talk about the Sacramento Kings, their title for that is "Welcome to Basketball Hell," and I think last season was a prime example of what basketball hell looks like. We didn't have great expectations, but we had some expectations, and then they
were too high,
and they were way too high apparently. So then
how high?
Way too high.
Okay, thank you.
And then you go throughout the season to go, okay, we might get a top 4 pick, we might get AJ DeBonso, we might get Cameron Boozer, we might get Darren Peterson, we might get any of those players. It was
our expectations for that were
way too high.
Exactly.
And it's like we're in this limbo state, which we've always been in, of we're too good to be good and we're too bad to be we're too bad to be good and we're too good to be bad. And so we're stuck in this limbo state. And now Adam Silver is screwing us over too.
Yeah.
So
we have not talked about the NBA draft lottery before. Well, actually, we did on a previous podcast, talked about all the different options and went in great detail all those options.
Yeah.
And they came up with this 3-2-1 option. The one thing I'll say about this is the NBA draft is all about luck. If you're lucky, you're going to be a good team.
Yeah.
If you're not, you're going to be the Sacramento Kings.
And I think that the
Brooklyn Nets.
Or the Brooklyn Nets. I would say that in the rigging aspect of the NBA draft.
Bulls.
Or the Chicago I don't know.
Yeah, they're there.
I would say in the rigging aspect of the NBA draft lottery, I don't think this lottery was rigged. But I think other ones have been. Victor Wembanyama, Cooper Flagg.
Well, I don't like this year's lottery because of
the Utah Jazz.
Well, the Utah Jazz and the Washington Wizards. The two teams that, the Washington Wizards traded for Trae Young. And they traded for Anthony Davis. And then they said, yeah, go sit down, guys. We don't want you to play. And then the Utah Jazz get fined $500,000 and they get the number 2 pick. And they might end up with AJ DeBonso, the player they really, really wanted. And you know what? If the Sacramento Kings were to get fined $1 million, I would take AJ DeBonsa. I would think if they got fined $5 million, I would take AJ DeBonsa. And Radadive would be like, yeah, sure. How much do you want me to pay? How much do I have to pay to get AJ DeBonsa? I would like if you were to ask him, how much money would you have to pay to get the number 1 pick, their number 2 pick this year?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's probably in the. I think I heard somebody actually say the number 1 pick this year might be worth $50 to $100 million to whatever franchise gets it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're finding somebody $500,000, like, yes, sign me up as the Utah Jazz. So that's why I'm upset by the draft this year lottery is 2 of the teams, besides the Indiana Pacers, 2 of them got rewarded, and the Indiana Pacers, they fell flat on their face and even lost their pick. Anyway,
But looking at what I was trying to say is that even in the dark moments of being inside basketball hell, we were still able to find lights of Maxime Renaud becoming the breakout starter that he was, making the All-NBA rookie second team. Nick Clifford, I didn't even really know who he was before the season. That's usually what happens with most rookies for me. But I actually believe in him and that he could be a really good a really good starter for us moving on, a good role player. And I would like to say the biggest surprise was Dylan Cardwell.
I totally agree. Do you want to say something else to him, or can I
just the energy and the passion that he has for what he does. And what he does isn't the big flashy things of scoring and dunking on people and getting these cool assists, and he doesn't act like he's this big egotistical guy. He's like, yeah, I do this, and it's like he's cool about it. He's active. He shows that he cares when he gets a block. He shows that he cares when he gets a nice rebound, and he celebrates with the crowd. And I think it's really good that the Kings have someone like that. A guy with passion that isn't just. I want to go win a game. It's not just I want to go fill my stat sheet. It's that I want to go win the game and I want to have fun, and it's fun to win games.
If you look at, because this is all I want to say, Dylan Cardwell. Again, thank the Lord. I could do the thank the Lord, but for him being on the Kings with all those rookies that we got, 3 rookies we got, thank the Lord for all 3 of those. That was a bright side on the season. I want to know who in the Sacramento Kings office found Dylan Cardwell. Because if you look at his stats last year, he averaged
for college.
For college, not last year with the Kings. His last senior year, and he actually played 5 years for Auburn. He played 5 years. Good for him. He averaged 5 points per game and 5.1 rebounds a game, and he comes in and makes a difference in the NBA. Like that's some amazing. You found a diamond in the rough. So that guy needs to get a raise, whoever that was in the Kings organization. So good on the Kings.
Whatever scout found him.
Yes.
I want to shake your hand.
I know. Can I say thank you? I'd buy you dinner if I could ever meet you. So, I would love. Actually, the funny thing is if you could find out who it was, you could ask him okay, who do you think the Kings should pick number 34? I would let that guy pick number 34 this year. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Okay. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
I'm not expecting a lot from the Kings. I have hope for the future, not so much for next season. I do have hope in 3 years when I'm a junior or something in college and I'm going to be off and doing whatever. But I do have hope for the future of this franchise. It's not so much for next season. It's more of what's going to happen in the next few seasons of what is the Kings going to look like. So
okay.
I'm trying to end on a positive note. That's why that's why I brought up Dylan Cardwell. That's why I brought up our rookies. It's not so much we're in basketball hell. It's everything sucks. No, it's there's still light in the darkness. So
my light to the darkness is we still have the Sacramento Kings. When you were growing up, we almost lost them, and we still have a team to talk about. So. Hey, thanks everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed our hour-long NBA season recap, draft prep season, and how we did on predictions. Let us know in the comments if you think did you have predictions at the beginning of the season? So
and just a basic of how wrong or right you were. So just thanks you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.